folk hero Bobby Bowden, the coach of the Seminoles, his team back in at 14-9. Bobby Bowden, when he was 19, and his girlfriend, a high school cheerleader, she was 16, eloped. 35 years later, he and Ann are still happily married. He said, got a $20 speeding ticket, was the best money he ever spent. Getting across the state line to marry her.
Hey, Don, I got one for you. The starting quarterback for Georgia, James Jackson, is back to return this kickoff.
Fred Lane's back there with him. Interesting combination. They hooked up on that 50-yard pass play that set up the game's first touchdown for Georgia.
And now remember, if he catches the ball and runs to his right or left, he can throw it backwards.
We're going to get into that now, the lead. They got no shot at it anyway.
Out to the 30. Through the end zone.
Barry Barco, who's the kickoff man, the sophomore, drills it through the end zone on the fly, so the Dogs come out to take over the ball. 1st and 10 on their 20.
You were talking about Bobby Bowden. He's walked about 150 miles this afternoon up and down that sideline. Here's the Georgia possessions in the second half, vastly different from the first half. We're going to have a good finish to this football game.
If Bobby Bowden ever wanted to get out of coaching, he could sure make it as a speaker.
Don't mention that. Oh, I thought you were going to say a sportscaster. Don't mention that too much. I was going to say.
Jackson throws, and he's got his man, the tight end, Scott Williams. He's going to keep going even though he's out of bounds.
Brian McCrary on the coverage. The one thing Florida State want right there is just simply a good defensive stand. Make it take some time. 36 yards on the catch. Nobody in coverage. Jackson threw it very well. Now, I'm not sure who you put the hat on here for the coverage, but watch how open he is. He's behind everybody. There's nobody there in coverage whatsoever. Finally, McCrary gets him out. 15 is Anthony Smiley.
Back to live action. Here come the Dogs on the run, and going hard is Tron Jackson, who's been quiet for a while. Getting a call from scrimmage on 1st down. He rockets ahead and gets it down close to the 26-yard line.
This guy's got great speed. Runs 100 yards in 10-3. Big kid, too.
He was the South Carolina state champion in both 100 and 200 meters. He gets the opening. He can be gone. Almost was there. Got 8 as it was. Georgia driving, leading by 5 in the 4th quarter with 13:15 to play in the game.
That's 1st down. Well, Georgia suddenly coming alive. The Florida State defense gets a rest, and they seem to just go to sleep out there.
It's really great to see what an enterprise like a bowl game does for a whole community. We'll be going down next week to the Orange Bowl, where you get some great people, important people. Everybody in South Florida gets behind the Orange Bowl and makes it an event, a civic, statewide happening. Doing the same thing here in Orlando with the Citrus Bowl.
98% too are volunteers.
Sold out, and the Shriners Hospital are the beneficiaries as Lars Tate runs the ball hard inside the 20 on a 1st down carry. Lars Tate has been the payoff man for Georgia. He's been in the end zone for both touchdowns.
Henry Taylor, the most consistent linebacker for Florida State, hesitates a little. He's there to make the tackle. I like that kid.
Boy, you can really play. Bowden says he plays every down of practice, scrimmages, like it's the...
Well, they need a big defensive play right here. Georgia is certainly in Butler's range, but they need a big play right there to stop this drive.
Linebackers playing off, pitch back, Tate goes wide, and they get the big play. Lars Tate comes across. This time it was the other inside backer, Fred Jones. Sophomore from Miami, stuffing the run.
Once again, Henry Taylor from behind the play tries to make the tackle. He runs up through the offensive line of scrimmage, and it's just the speed of Lars Tate and a last-second block by Anderson keeps Taylor out of the play.
Florida State's defense has allowed only one runner all season long to gain 100 yards against them.
Let's see, what has Georgia done that's worked for him in crucial situations? I look for Jackson right here.
I'll tell you, Jackson doing anything that's wide open. Rolling out, firing deep. Jackson, supposed bad ankle.
And if Georgia wins this ball game, even though they lost the last 3 regular season games of the season, Vince Dooley will have found a quarterback that's active. and mobile, and also won a football game, so this is a big plus for Georgia.
The Florida Citrus Bowl is sponsored by the Florida Citrus.
Wait a minute. They don't have the clock set right here. Somebody should stop the play. They got 19 seconds left. Okay.
Swing pass. Tron Jackson. Big defensive play. He had a track open. Henry Taylor, number 58, was again the man.
That was the defensive play of the game. He fought through two guys to get to Tron Jackson and make the tackle. This is well disguised by Jackson. I like this kid, even with the lack of experience. Now watch Taylor come from out of your left. Look at there. Blocked by Anderson. Still there to make the tackle. Ball is loose. Goes out of bounds. Butler on for a field goal.
Tron Jackson had an open lane. Now as Butler comes out, if he hits it, it'll present an interesting dilemma for Florida State.
Don't be offside.
They'll be down by 8. So they need a touchdown and the 2-point conversion just to tie.
Chip shot.
Penalty markers down though. Might have been roughing.
Yeah, that's running into the kicker. Once again, Joe Wessel has made a mistake on a kick. That's a major penalty. It'll be a first down. Watch this. Third time this has happened. Running into the kicker.
The way this has gone with turnovers, I'd take the 3 into the 8-point lead.
No, you can't do that. The coaches are saying decline the.
I'd say that.
You're right. Vince Dooley is saying decline the penalty. We will take the 3 points. You know, that's a half a distance to the goal penalty.
That's a sure thing. They know they've got an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter if they take the field goal. That's what Coach Dooley says to do. Let's not take points off. We haven't had that many lately.
Yeah, you're right. I want to remind you of the 2-point conversion and the success the offense has had. Florida State's offense in the second half.
Well, a lot more to go, and we'll be back at the Florida Citrus Bowl right now. The Dogs were ready for the artful Joe Wessel on his kick blocking. They've stopped him, but a couple of times he's run into the kicker after it.
Yeah, he's done most of that himself. I still question his choice, John. That's a major penalty. Georgia would have had the ball half the distance to the goal. First down. Now the penalty is assessed on the kickoff. 3 points is certainly good. There's no question about that, but Florida State's still within reach with the 2-point conversion after a touchdown.
Well, I think it's more than 3 points. I think it's an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Well, but that can still be matched, though, with a touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Interesting choice.
Well, the choice is history. Right now, they're going to kick it off. The penalty assessed. So Butler will kick it off. Look at, he's lining up. He's going to try something. What's he going to do here?
Onside kick.
I wouldn't think that'd be too. Got it. Free ball.
Florida State got it. Good field position.
Well, that's unusual. Have you seen that before? You have a lead in the fourth quarter. You try an onside kick.
Okay, but you've got a 15-yard penalty, so you kick it from the other team's 45-yard line. And this is the penalty that started. This is the third penalty on kicks against Joe Wessel today. You want a kid to try, give his level best. Joe has just been a little over anxious today. He's hurt his team. His last game as a Seminole, he wanted it to turn out better than this time.
But he sure helped them previously with the kick blocks, and now the Seminoles go to the run on first down. Cletus Jones runs the ball and gets it out to the 30.
Stadium clock is not working. I'd venture to say there's, 9 minutes left? I would think this would be a very conservative drive by Florida State. There's the clock. Not working. Kept on the field. Very conservative drive. And try to get this ball in the end zone. Go for the 2-point conversion.
Clock went out. Time being kept on the field. The Seminoles of Florida State in their garnet and gold looking for a big play now. Eric Thomas looking deep. Fires, he's got a man. Jet Hester coming across the middle. He's up to the 40. It's a first down, Florida State. Jesse Jet Hester. Not big, 6 feet 170, but about as fast as they get.
And that Bill Mitchell on the tackle again. That guy's been everywhere today. It's a good high percentage pass if you've got pass protection. That time Florida State protected him well. Thomas didn't throw it too well, but Hester made the catch.
And it was good for a first down. So now Florida State trailing in the game 17-9. We're waiting to get an official read on what the time remaining is. Clock's out. Thomas keeps it himself and does well. Breaks it across the 50. Down to the 49-yard line. 11-yard gain and a first down.
Tom, we just heard there's 12:10 left in the ball game.
A lot of time left. And a lot of pressure on the favored Seminoles. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion just to tie. You'll recall they went for a 2-point conversion after their first touchdown, their only touchdown, and it was stuffed. They didn't get there.
Georgia wants to win because the last time a Bulldog team lost 4 in a row was 1963, the year before Vince Dooley took over as the head coach.
Thomas throws a good strike. He gets it inside the 45-yard line of Georgia. Delivering the ball to Hassan Jones, who came off the right flank.
Mitchell and John Little on the tackle. Little, the rover back. You see a lot of people coming in and out of the lineup now for Georgia. I think Vince Dooley gave his starters just a little breather there for this drive, this very critical drive.
Coach Dooley himself was a quarterback at Auburn as a collegian.
Georgia's offsides, Don. Look at that defensive tackle.
He is. He's over the ball.
They threw the flag, too.
They did.
Oh, darn it. You know, you work so hard that
They're going to
keep a team from going in the end zone, and then you do dumb little things like that. Offsides, defense, and it gives them a first down.
Doesn't give them a first down if they take it. Be close to one now. They almost got the first down with the carry. Would make it second down and about 1.
It was Henry Harris, number 52, that was up there cheating for inches when you don't need inches in a defense like that.
So the Seminoles take the penalty.
Defense outside.
There you had it. Trump, they lined up right over the ball. That arm was across the ball.
And that's just a lack of concentration. I mean, the ball is 3 feet from him.
Florida State gets the down over. Second down again, but this time only 1. Maybe we'll see Thomas put it up. Darren Holloman of Flyers on the left flank. Hassan Jones on the right. They go to the run and get the first down. Cletus Jones, the fullback, takes it straight ahead. They went right after big Donald Chumley. Some good offensive blocking.
Well, a few times today they put him on the ground. He's done an excellent job. Ionata, Hanton, the tight end and offensive tackle. I repeat, Don, this is a very conservative drive here by Florida State. High percentage passes, trying to hang on to that football.
9 minutes and change remaining. We're waiting for another read on the clock. Scoreboard clock is out. We're in the 4th quarter. Underdog Georgia leads Florida State in with the ball 17-9.
Whoa.
Eric Thomas didn't have time to get it away. Henry Harris had a moment to spare. Saw the quarterback start to roll and shed the block and made the knockdown.
Yeah, ran right behind the block of the center and was there before Thomas could make up his mind to do anything.
Between them, Hester and Jones have combined for only 5 catches and total yardage of 37.
Came into the game averaging about 19 yards a catch between the two of them. Those possessions, all Florida State scoring in the second half.
Second and long, second and 13. Here's a throw, and it's almost intercepted by Bill Mitchell. Junior linebacker from Dalton, Georgia. He's made a lot of plays today for the Dogs.
Sure has. Those linebackers, this ball should not have been thrown. When Thomas is looking right into the sun, that may have had an effect, but there's 2 guys there to make the interception. If he doesn't make it, the rover back does, John Little.
Hit him in that proverbial bad place.
Well, he's got his hands taped, gloves. Little had a better chance.
Third down now coming up, and 13. Hester's on the left flank. That's where they're looking. But he'll never get it away, as again a big rush comes from Georgia. 99. Jake Richardson is there to knock down Eric Thomas. So the Georgia defense rises up again.
They have made big plays all day long. Jake Richardson comes from almost crawling on the ground to get to him. There you see him coming into the picture. He does a smart thing there. He gets both legs in his arms, not just one.
Soft sophomore Lewis Berry in to punt the ball again. Gets off a good one. Long. Jimmy Harrell looks at it and fair catches at the 10. So Georgia, holding to a 17-9 lead, gets the football back. They'll try to run the clock when we come back to the Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando.
That's Rosie Snipes on the sideline. 8 carries, 59 yards, but out with a bad ankle. Hook 'em horns, is that what he's saying? We're at 7:40 left in the fourth quarter now. There it is. 7:50 left in the fourth quarter.
The scoreboard clock has been out through much of the fourth quarter. Georgia holding a lead, looking to hold the ball as they go to the running game. Tron Jackson turns the corner. Diving across the 15-yard line, he got to the 17. The linebacker Jesse Solomon knocked him down.
Georgia's done an excellent job in critical situations of capturing that corner of the Florida State defense and allowing Tron Jackson and also Tate to get outside, get turned upfield with their speed. That's instant yards.
Double wide receiver formation to the left now for Georgia. On 2nd and 3, they go back short side of the field and they get the first down. Right back to Jackson, the sprinter, 170 pounds, who came in averaging over 6 yards a run.
Jesse Solomon again on the tackle.
7 minutes and 10 seconds left to play. Eric Thomas, the FSU quarterback, hoping to get back in there soon with the offense. Jackson, a freshman quarterback, came out when the starter Todd Williams was injured in the first quarter. He sprained a knee. And Jackson has really been the prime mover for the Georgia Bulldogs, leading the 2 first-half touchdowns, now to a 17-9 lead over favored Florida State.
With the little experience he possesses at a quarterback, and he's done a marvelous job for Georgia. That's certainly a plus for Vince Dooley and his staff to start the 1985 season. That young man.
He had a bad ankle all week, was limping in practice.
Yeah. He's got well in a hurry, didn't it?
Lame get well for big games. We saw him a short time ago after Florida State scored. Back to take the kickoff back.
Yeah.
2nd and 9. Jackson's got it right on the numbers of Anthony Quincy, number 89, coming down with the ball. And Georgia gets a first down.
19 yards on the catch. Turned his back to the defense. Here's Quincy on the pattern. Brian McCrary on the coverage. See him trying to be rerouted. 32 up front. Martin Mayhew tries to route him. That's well thrown. What an offensive MVP. You certainly got to look at Jackson. Surprising performance.
Playing like a veteran. Now he goes to the run, hands off, and he goes to Tron Jackson, no relation. Tron Jackson takes it across the 45 out to the 48. Got about 3 on first down.
Don, the thing I like about Jackson, James Jackson, to this point, the quarterback, is that he's not made the mistake that you would generally think a freshman quarterback might have. That's the thing that impresses me the most. He's played today like he's been out there for a long time, and in fact he hasn't.
We're coming up on 5.5 minutes to play, and also remember that Georgia has the long ball kicker in Kevin Butler, the 4th leading scorer in NCAA history. Handoff up the middle as the Dogs run the clock and run the ball as they get it down close to another first down. That 2nd and 7 carry was good for about 4 yards. Headed now where they spot the ball. It's going to be 3rd down and just over a yard coming up. The leading scorer in NCAA history is Luis Zendejas, senior place kicker for Arizona State. Tony Dorsett is number 2 all time. Another Heisman Trophy winner from years ago, Glenn Davis of Army fame, is number 3, and Kevin Butler number 4, all-time NCAA scoring leaders. Pitch back, Tron Jackson.
Oh, big start.
Down, and the Seminoles again make a big play on defense. 4th down comes up.
Henry Taylor, Billy Allen, there to make the stop.
Billy Allen, a tough customer from Cleveland, Ohio, comes up to make the first hit.
Even though the lead blocker, Andre Smith, is out there, Taylor from the inside, Mayhew and Allen all there to stop Georgia before the first down.
Chip Andrews, the very good punter on the field now for the Dogs. Game clock has to be inside 4 minutes. Scoreboard clock has been out the whole fourth quarter. Darren Holloman again back. They're confident in this freshman. Little return man standing back at his 10.
Georgia taking the illegal procedure, delay of game penalty. Taking back 5 yards, and that's no problem to Andrews.
Use all the time they can.
Sure, absolutely.
So the ball is set back now to the Georgia 49-yard line. 4:05 remaining in the game. Time being kept on the field now. This is the Florida Citrus Bowl on NBC Sports. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy in Orlando, Florida. Boomtown in the Sun Belt. The game's sold out. The Bulldogs of Georgia holding to a 17-9 lead over favored Florida State. They blocked it. Wessel's going to pick it up and go in. This will be a Florida State touchdown. He finally delivered. His 6th block, his 4th return for a touchdown this year. He's missed a lot of times, Trump.
You got to feel good for the guy, too. We've been on his case all day long. 3 penalties really cost the team field position and drives extended by Georgia. But I'll tell you what, Wessel doesn't give up. And the guy in the middle is the one who blocks it. Lenny Chavers.
That's his 4th block.
That's right. Wessel picks it up to run it in. The Florida State defense has now blocked 9 punts for 11 TDs, along with field goals.
There it is again. Right up the middle comes Chavers, and then Joe Wessel is there to field the ball. The 2-point conversion try. It is a reverse to Darren Holloman. He's going in. The game is tied.
That's Wessel on the outside. He doesn't get it. Lenny Chavers blocking his 5th punt. And I repeat, the special teams of Florida State has accounted for 10 touchdowns. That's the 6 points. The 2-point reverse. An outstanding play. It looks like the option. Holloman coming the other way.
Great looking play.
And he makes a great move on the inside to get it in the end zone. This kid is not big at all, but he ran like a big kid there.
That took some timing to get that one off right. And a great second look. NBC technicians again doing a superlative job. Our producer, Peter Rolfe. Our director, Richard Klein, as we are now tied in the 4th quarter.
And Georgia expecting the onside kick.
Butler, I don't know if you want to do that. Now they delivered downfield. They had the hands team in. They did. Harrell, the only deep back. He downs it in the end zone.
Touchback.
They had to wave off those Seminoles coming. They thought he might have taken it outside.
You can hear the boos. He had 1 foot in the end zone and 1 foot out on the playing surface. And some of the Florida State people said, wait a minute, that's a safety. Not so. Once you break the plane in the end zone, you're in the end zone.
Jack Nicklaus of professional golf fame is here. His son is one of the wide receivers for Florida State. Steve Nicklaus, who's a junior receiver, hasn't been in yet. He's an all-state player in Florida. Burt Reynolds, a #1 Florida State fan, couldn't make it to the game. Just endowed the School of Theater with $1 million.
Watch what that turnover does to the defense now of Florida State.
Jackson had adrenaline pumping. This little guy can throw fastballs, but that one was too high.
Fred Lane, the intended receiver. Florida State's going to get this ball back.
Looking for that time again. The clock has been out the whole 4th quarter. The official time being kept on the field. Scoreboard clock is official in the National Football League, not in college football. It's kept on the field. They've seen clocks go out before.
All over the place.
Jackson heading out. Turns the corner. And a big defensive play by Billy Allen, the strong safety. Stopping the first down attempt.
Boy, that kid is a threat. Allen showed great speed there, too.
He sure did. A 210 running that little Jackson down.
You can account for everybody down there who's an eligible receiver, but as a defense, you cannot account for this guy. Allen, a great individual effort. 6 carries now for Jackson, 45 yards. Third and how much? 4?
NBC statistician Ross Schneiderman showing Jackson now at 45 yards running the ball on 6 carries. Handoff.
Not enough.
Boy, the chain markers become very important now. It looked like Florida State might have stopped that third down attempt.
That was Andre Smith on the carry. It does appear that he stopped short. I guarantee you this is when coaches earn their money. It's a good job by Florida State getting across that line of scrimmage. 79. Gerald Nichols just misses him. I think he's short. Do you go for it? I'll tell you what, I got to admire Vince Dooley. We're not going for any ties here.
Nope.
We're going for a win on both sides. I like that.
Game is tied, 17-17. We're down close to 2 minutes. Fourth down in less than a yard. Seminoles have the ball. Penalty marker is down. Is this a good one or what? It's against Georgia. That's the preliminary signal.
Don, that's the first mistake that kid's made all day long. In case you're wondering, he said delay of game?
Yeah, that's what the signal was.
How about that?
We got some Seminoles over here on the warpath.
In case you're wondering, Derek Schmidt, the field goal kicker for Florida State, has made a 54-yard field goal. He is 7-9 from 40 to 49 yards.
The officials whistled that play dead. Looked like a trick play, but it wasn't.
No. Georgia went for it on 4th down. Georgia went for it on 4th down. And now they're getting another play here. Wait a minute.
20 remaining, we're told.
Now, if this happens to Bobby Bowden in the state of Florida, he's going to have somebody's head.
2 minutes, 20 seconds.
There's been some historic 5th down snuck in over the decades in the pro college
They
game.
went for it on 4th down. The marker was 4th down.
Yes, it was. They stopped him.
Now, what they're saying is, because of the penalty, they get the down over, and therefore it's 4th again, and they do have the right to punt.
Well, we'll be back before they resume action again as we take this pause. The was the delay of game penalty before the snap of the ball, so the play didn't count. The 5 yards is assessed, and now on 4th down, Georgia ready to punt again in a tie game with 2:20 to play. The Florida Citrus Bowl coming down to the final gun. Florida State getting a crack at it. This could be a last-at-bat game. Looking to hit on Darren Holloman. He's not tough. Bounces up like a greyhound, and off the field he goes. Fortunately, did not fumble.
22, Tony Mangrum. 33, Bill O'Leary. And he hung on to the football. 42 yards on the catch. This is what you call your zero return yardage.
Those are the kind that start to hurt. Tony Mangrum down there with Bill O'Leary. Georgia's Dogs have come up with big plays all day long on defense. They'll be trying to now, as the Seminoles will work to get in field goal range. A tie game late in the 4th quarter. Look at the Dogs fight here.
Busted play, Don. That's the 5th sack of the day for Georgia, as you see on the screen. That's a busted play. Eric Thomas had nobody to throw it to. Watch him looking around here, Don. Somebody ran the wrong pattern, did something wrong, because Thomas was he was looking for help, trying to find that safety net, the life raft. Somebody out there with a friendly jersey to throw it to.
Remember that Georgia has the long-range kicker. Kevin Butler beat Clemson this year with a 60-yarder that he booted between the hedges.
And he had plenty of room to spare.
Less than 2 minutes to go now. Coach Bowden and the Seminoles fighting from behind, down 14-0 at the half. Then down 17-9, they rallied back. A block punt, the subsequent pickup and score by Joe Russell, a 2-point conversion, and the pitch back to Holloman, and the game is tied 17-17. Eric Thomas tries to run against Georgia, but gets very little on a 2nd down and 18 after the sack.
Well, you got an interesting choice here now. It's going to be 3rd down and about 15, maybe 14 yards. You would think under normal circumstances this is 2-down area, but with Kevin Butler, you can't give him the ball in this area because he can kick the field goal.
Quarterback Eric Thomas has run the ball 9 times and has gained only 1 yard.
Reverse again.
Whoa, look at this. Look at the Georgia Dogs coming, throwing down inside the 10-yard line. Greg Waters, 59, was through.
Fool me once, you're a fool. Fool me twice, I'm a fool. He's no fool. They got him on the 2-point conversion.
The Dogs do it right that time, and now they'll force a Florida State punt.
That first time they ran the reverse went for 31 yards. They got to punt it now.
We'd like to take time out to thank all the fine people involved with the Florida Citrus Bowl for all their help in the coverage of today's game, with special thanks to the executive director of the Florida Citrus Bowl, Chuck Rowe, the assistant executive director, Dylan Thomas, the executive producer, John Fohl, and the administrative assistant, Carol Monroe. We'll be back for the
35 seconds left.
Also, our thanks to the president of the Florida Citrus Bowl Committee, John Lord, incoming president Manny Garcia, to Joe Cantrell. Been a big success and a big enterprise undertaken by the people in this part of the country to make it work. And here's a throw downfield as the ball is incomplete at the 50. We'll keep going to the sideline, trying to get the official time. Scoreboard clock has been out for the whole 4th quarter. We're under a minute to play, though. Well under it. The benches are being informed after each player. They should be.
They will be by the officials, yes. Although there's only one guy on the field with the
28
official
seconds
clock.
left.
Chumley.
Dogs come through again. Donald Chumley was the first man through to stop Eric Thomas. The 6th sack of this game of Thomas by the Georgia defense.
Timeout taken.
Might end in a standoff. Florida State a long way from field goal range, and 4th down coming up. They send the punting unit out.
Or do they?
Yep.
Yeah, they send him out, but do they punt?
Well, the problem is if you don't make it go, Butler's going to come right in and
You're
win.
right. You're right. I don't think they have much choice, and I think that's the disappointment on the face of Bobby Bowden. They not only need a punt, they need a darn good punt here to keep it out of Butler's range.
Trump the Clemson game revisited.
61 yards. They credited it with 60, but it was actually over 60 yards. He's had a virus all week. There he is, number 5, standing on the sideline. That's his holder right there.
This could be like Rocky II for Kevin Butler. Beat Clemson with a 60-yarder, and Florida State is going to really have to cover this kick. 21 seconds left. The kick down the field, and at the 46-yard line. John Lord, the president of the Florida Citrus Bowl Commission, was talking about how they've upped the prize money. It's up to $600,000 a team. 4 years ago, I think it was something like $100,000 a team. Next year, it's going up to $1.5 million. The two will split.
Well, they keep playing games like that. There'll be a lot of people down here paying a lot of money to see this. If Butler would try right there, that would be am I correct, 63-yard attempt? 7 yards plus 10 for the end zone.
You got it. Mississippi State coach says it's discouraging when they get the ball in their 20, get a first down in field goal range. Downfield, Cassius Osborne sprinting for the ball and can't get to it.
There's Butler.
The clock has been out the whole 4th quarter, so we have to get reports on the field on how much official time is left. There's about 10 seconds left.
How much time he's asking. Finding out how much time. Doing some research on Kevin Butler of Georgia. He has scored 14 points kicking in 3 games this season.
Kevin Butler, 79% of his career field goals have been made. Only 21 misses, and 10 of those have been over 50 yards. There's a long ball down. This might be picked off by Wessel. Now he was getting out of bounds anyway. Well, here he comes. Super leg, Kevin Butler. This will be his all-timer if he hits this.
We did a tape with him earlier in the week. He said he doesn't watch the kick. He lets the crowd tell him if it's going to go in.
5 seconds left. Line of scrimmage. The 46-yard line.
That's unbelievable.
The hold will be, he's trying a 71-yard kick.
That's unbelievable.
This goes through Trump. I do a double gainer right out of the box. I've seen Dempsey kick one from 63 yards, the National Football League record. Florida State's not even putting anybody there, coming with everybody. It's on the way. I don't believe it. Oh, just short of the crossbar. He missed by a foot or two.
He could have made us. Oh, I don't believe it.
71-yard attempt.
Dead in the middle, about a yard short, and he's mad at himself. I think the game is over. The officials are heading for the tunnel.
The ball must be flat. We hit that.
How did he do that?
71-yard attempt, and so a difficult ending for both teams who fought every down of the way, only to end in a tie. The first meeting between Florida State and Georgia since 1965. Kevin Butler came close. He'd have gone in the Hall of Fame if he hit that one, and he didn't miss it by much.
He's the Doug Flutie of the kicking world if he makes that one.
He is. So the final numbers are on the board. A 17-17 game. It's been a lot of years since we've had a tie Florida Citrus Bowl.
Listen to these names. 1956, Juanita versus Missouri Valley, 6-6. 1954, East Texas State versus Arkansas State, 7-7. A lot better football game today.
Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of football on NBC, Ted Nathanson. Our producer.
And just staunch supporters of me, and I'm just happy it's worked out the last game.
I don't know if that's a record, Joe, is it? But you had 4 kick returns for touchdowns in one season. It's got to be close.
Yes, sir. You know, for a person that doesn't return kicks, I guess I've been the best punt returner on the team.
Joe, Bob Trumpy, I'm wondering if earlier in the game you weren't a little stoked up too much.
That's exactly it. I've been so frustrated the past 4 games that it just, you know, I was trying so hard, and, you know, it was just something that I knew I could do because I was getting back there, and I was getting back there quick, and I got frustrated, and I was pushing just a little bit too much.
Well, you finally got one, Joe. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob.
And thanks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well done job.
Say hi to all the West family down in Miami.
All right, we've got that on the way. Merrill Lynch Realty's most valuable player of the game was James Jackson, the freshman quarterback for Georgia. Offensive player of the game, Lars Tate of Georgia. Defensive player, Kevin Harris of Georgia. The Raiders and the Seahawks are getting ready to tee it up at the Kingdome as football continues on NBC Sports.